Howdy.
Who is it?
Knock, knock. Oh, there you are. I can see you now.
What kind of watch is that?
And there's Art. That's that Fossil.
What?
The Android Wear Fossil watch.
Oh.
It's got all kinds of stuff. It says that it's 79 degrees out. Upside down. It says I have no events and I have made 1,450 steps today.
No.
But I have no heartbeat, so I don't know why it's not tracking my heart right now. I guess I'm dead, even though I'm walking around.
There's mine. Such as it is. Looks like I still have blood pressure. Takes 14 seconds to do that. Let's see what we got. Meow, meow, meow. 102 over 84, 77 beats per minute, 96% oxygen. Of course, I paid $7 for this, so I wouldn't.
Mine's not that sophisticated. I can get my heart rate and a step count. I don't get all that other fancy stuff.
Oh, steps. You want steps, do you? 1,430. I'm kind of low today.
My heartbeat, as it just took it 1 minute ago, is 100 beats per minute.
That's pretty
Wow.
fast.
That seems fast.
He's excited about the meeting.
Yeah, excited to be. Gail says you're excited about the meeting
Oh, well, maybe that's it.
and seeing Art.
And seeing Art. Oh, yes, you did. I was going to say, Jim didn't send out the meeting note, but he sent it out.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Like-
I think about 20 minutes ago, wasn't it?
It was way ahead of the meeting.
Yeah, about 8 minutes ago.
See, there you go. I did get it done. Gail reminded me is the only reason I did that.
Well, we all knew where we were or something. Maybe we don't know where we are. I don't know.
Don't make too much noise. Other people might find us. And then we wouldn't be in trouble. Trying to lay low during the virus.
Yeah.
They hauled a girl off from a stadium in Dayton today. The cops got her for not wearing a mask.
In Dayton?
It was in that area.
There was one in Logan County last night.
Was
I saw the video. It was the
There was a
cops
big black
her up
cop.
pretty bad.
Big black cop took over the little white.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's it. That was up in Logan County.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize that was. Yeah. Did you see the long video or did you see the short little clip? The long video is pretty brutal.
Yeah. It was probably about a minute altogether.
Yeah, that's probably the short one.
Yeah.
The long one's closer to maybe 5 minutes. But I was wondering what the girl had actually done because it looked like she was just sitting there.
Sitting there amongst her family.
Yeah.
So yeah. She wasn't wearing a mask.
She wasn't wearing a mask. Which,
Better watch your step, Art, over here. Get over here with us, those rednecks. And
You forget, I come from California. We're statewide required to wear masks anytime we're outside our own front door.
wow.
there's
I don't see them hauling people away from the protest when they're not wearing a mask. So this is pretty interesting.
well, this wasn't supposed. This, I mean, I don't. DeWine had said that stuff like that wouldn't happen, even though his orders say he can do that.
Well, my guess is you probably gave him some lip. Generally speaking, if you treat the cops with respect, you don't have a problem. It's when you decide to lip off to them, call them pigs or something or another, and then they are human beings. They get pissed.
Well, I'm not entirely disagreeing with that, but this little girl, she was just sitting there. She didn't need to be tased. She was tased.
Remember, this is all videotaped and made available to the public. So we have to be Black Lives Matter.
Well, I've already taken some heat because I thought the cop was wrong. So that was
Yeah, it's right and wrong. And then what are you going to do?
yeah.
You're going to pick certain people out. Okay.
Well, I took the heat because I said the protesters who shot at cops were worse than the cop that drug the girl out of the stadium, but they both were wrong. They were both bad. Both are bad.
So I got a question for you.
Questions are free.
Okay.
Good answers might cost you.
Here's my observation in the last week and a half. I have a number of Raspberry Pis around the house that I've got cameras attached to them. And a while back, I could not connect to them at all. And I thought, okay, so what's wrong? So at any rate, cut to the chase, long story short, those guys are just dead. Not the camera, but the Raspberry Pi. Have you ever had a Raspberry Pi die on you? Now, keep in mind, these Raspberry Pis have been installed. I think I installed them the summer of 2017. So they've been there for 3 years, possibly only 2 years, but I believe all the ones that went bad have been there for 3 years. You ever had that happen?
I've had SD cards go bad inside of them.
Well, I haven't swapped out new SD cards yet.
Yeah.
So I need to try that. But two things happened. Number one, I couldn't connect to them. In other words, they act like the Wi-Fi was dead. And then I took them down and plugged them into a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. And one of them just gave me a black screen, would not boot, period. The other one booted until, I guess I would say it was half, 2/3 of the way through the boot process, locked up with a black screen, and that was it. So I will try new SD cards in them and see if that makes a difference.
I suspect that the write cycle on the SD cards has expired. And
So the SD card has just been written to read and written and read and written and read and written too many times.
Yeah,
You know, they do have a finite life, so there's no question about that.
that would be my guess because I mean, I had a Raspberry Pi Zero uh, that was bad, but it it was bad from the factory, and it was a known issue. Um, that one was you just take it back and they give you a new one. But I've never had like a regular full size Raspberry Pi that was
Hmm.
working, and then suddenly it wasn't, unless it was hit by lightning or something.
Well, I will try swapping out the SD cards and see if that makes any difference.
Yeah.
Um, it hadn't occurred to me. I I have to say that to the best of my knowledge, first of all, I have used literally hundreds of flash devices over the years. I mean, I started using them back when 100 megabytes was a big one. Okay. And I think that was in 2000 or 2001. And I have never, to my knowledge, ever had one uh, go bad on the write cycle. On the other hand, I will say this: these were continuously taking a picture every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So they've literally taken what, a couple of thousand pictures a piece, I guess. So it's quite possible that it is the write cycle that's the problem.
And
Is there any way, if I can take that SD card out, put it in a connector, or put it on my PC, that I can analyze that thing and see if that's the problem?
um, I don't I I used to know a program that would do it. You probably have to Google it. Um, but probably the easiest way is if you plug it in and it doesn't enumerate as an SD card or a flash drive. You
Yeah.
probably got a bad flash drive. Um,
Huh. Well, they're cheap
there,
enough.
there used to be a program that would I forget what that was, but there used to be one that would it would tell you if it was still good. It would analyze how many write cycles it had and had left and whatever,
Oh, really?
and it would tell
Okay.
you it was made because some of the Chinese SD cards and USB flash drives, they say 8 gigs on them, or they said 16 gigs on them, and they were really 4 gigs,
Uh-huh.
or they would show up as 8 gigs, but you could only write 4 gigs. So it was made to analyze those devices, but it also worked for other things.
Well, I'll have to go do a search for that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. If I have seen where, like, if you lose power to the Raspberry Pi during a write cycle, that will cause problems.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, I mean, if you're doing this remotely, so you don't know if you've actually lost power or not or whatever, but I've seen that happen. Usually that doesn't destroy the SD card. It usually just corrupts all the data, and you have to start over again.
Uh-huh.
But I've seen that problem happen. But it sounds like you've got a bad SD card, or at least 2 bad SD cards.
Well, given the usage that these two Raspberry Pis have had, that's quite possible. I will check that out. And let's face it, I mean, the SD cards are cheap enough these days, they're essentially a throwaway anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are 32 gig SD cards. Just a minute. Barbara? Oh, I thought she was knocking on the door. Any rate, given the usage they've had, that's quite possibly the problem. Do they just die, or do they die in a section, or what is the usual death mode for a flash drive?
The ones that I have had die, and I've had 3 or 4 of them die. Basically, when they're dead, they're dead. There's no
So
chance.
they're not partially dead. They're not writing the part of the
Right.
drive. They're dead.
When they die, they die.
Okay.
And trying to get anything off of them is next to impossible. It's not impossible, but it's next to it.
Okay.
So
All right.
pretty much, I before you even download the software, if you just plug them into your computer and they don't even enumerate, you're done.
Okay. I will check that out. That's a great suggestion. Okay. Um, these these are Raspberry Pis that have been in continuous use for several years,
Right.
doing repetitive activities. So it makes sense that they would be they would have been written to death, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean that's when you said that, that was the first thing that popped in my mind. But you never.
Yeah, you got nothing there, Art. I was looking at one today, my street camera. It's it's the new style that I'm using. It's a 5 megapixel camera, and I wanted to look at yesterday, and it kicks off on anything that's on the street. It records for like 5 seconds after anything on the street triggers it,
Yeah.
and it's 32 gig, and I didn't have anything for yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so this new one, and I've lost a couple of cameras. The camera stopped working with the because of the SD chip, and just pull them out and they're fine.
So if you swap out a new SD chip, they work fine.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's improbable that for a 24-hour period, we wouldn't have anybody driving by on the road.
You never know. It's
We
Monroe,
have-
Ohio.
So
What's
another problem I've had is I noticed in the winter, and it's happened a couple of times when it was really cold, and also if the battery is low, that they'll die. And I don't know if it's the coldness or the battery low or both, but I'll lose 2 chips in a cycle. A cycle's about a month, and I'll lose 2 chips in a cycle.
Oh, really?
When it's really
Well, actually, these both were inside.
Yeah.
So, and they're running on a wall wart, so it's not the battery going low or anything like that. And it's the temperature cycle, even when we're not here, I don't let it get below about maybe 48, 50, something like that. And I don't let it get above maybe 81, 82 in the summertime when we're not here. Obviously, I have various temperature sensors, one of whom I'm married to, who won't tolerate that range normally. But I don't see any reason for really heating the house or cooling a house when I'm not here.
Micro Center. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
a couple of my cameras that died due to SD cards were indoor cameras, so they just die. Like what Leroy says, they die sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
32 gig Micro Center. Some name brands are like right around $5, but the Micro
Yeah.
Center brand is like $3.
Yeah.
So
The Micro Center brand, though, I think you have to go on site to get them. I don't think you can get them in the mail, can you?
I think that is probably a true statement.
Because Micro Center's always had great prices on flash drives, and I always interpreted that's like the 29 cents a pound bananas. It's to get you into the store so
Mhm.
you'll open your wallet for a bunch of other stuff that you don't need.
Well, that was the Raspberry Pi Zero W for $5. Heck yeah, I'm
Yeah.
buying one of those every time I go in, and I'm walking out with just a Raspberry Pi W.
So what was it, one to a customer or something like that?
It was supposed to be one per customer, but it was actually more closer to one per visit. So
Oh, okay. I see. So they didn't recognize you from one to the next, huh?
no, but I think they knew it was happening because they would see the same people grabbing the cards or the sticks all the time, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I think they knew it, and now they're $10 a piece again. So still not a bad buy.
That's the zero.
The Zero W, yeah, with the Wi-Fi.
Oh, is there a zero without Wi-Fi?
Yeah, the Zero is $5. The Zero W is $10.
Okay.
The $10 price, it was always supposed to be $10. Micro Center was just selling it for $5.
Yeah.
They were losing money on the deal.
Yeah, but if they get you in the door and you buy $50 to $200 worth of other stuff, hey, yeah, it gets lost in the round off.
Well, I'm not one of those persons. I would go in and get what I wanted and get the heck out.
I I don't have quite that amount of discipline. I try to discipline myself, but I always see something. Oh wow, gee, how could I possibly not?
I
It's such a bargain.
oh look, that $1,400 computer. I need
No. That I don't do.
I
I
need
tend
it.
to I tend to either buy my computers used or build them myself, one of the two.
I there was a hard drive, eight terabyte hard drive, and Best Buy actually had the best price for it. It shocked me, but it was one of those deals where they had lowered the price to get somebody in the door, and I bought one, and I walked in there, and the guy said, "You don't want anything else?" I said, "Heck no, this is it. This is what I came for."
Okay.
He was like,
What'd they get you for an 8T?
it was Western Digital. I think it was $100.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It
Is
was.
that a red, black, or blue?
It was an external.
No, but
I don't
it
know.
was an external. Okay.
It was one of these. It's one of their easy
Yeah.
stores. This one's a 5
Yeah, I
terabyte.
don't know what they put inside those.
I don't either. They probably the reds. I don't know. I haven't opened one of those up, but the Western Digitals last forever. I had a Seagate and it died after about a year.
Well, they wax and wane. I mean, Seagate has gone through cycles where the quality went down and then it went up and so forth. And frankly, over the years, if you go back 20, 25 years, Western Digital's done the same thing. I mean, I kind of live within a stone's throw of both the plants. And, so the local Fry's, for example, Fry's is kind of like a Micro Center here.
Yeah.
Always has some great offer where they run in 4 or 5 pallets of drives on the floor there and price them to sell. Again, it's the 19 cents a pound or 29 cents a pound bananas kind of thing. They want to get you in the door.
Yeah.
And then they depend on human nature to improve their sales. Although fries have been doing poorly recently, the China tariffs have really, really done a job on them.
Yeah, I've been ordering some stuff from DigiKey
From who?
because it
From
just
whom?
DigiKey.
Oh, DigiKey. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But I've been ordering some stuff from them because it's taking forever to get anything from China, and the prices aren't bad until they add the tariffs on, and then you're going,
Yeah.
like, you know, that was $33, and then by the time I got done with shipping and everything else, it was $47.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Yeah, DigiKey is net negative revenue on me at this point in my life because they don't do it anymore, but they used to send me one of these fat catalogs about twice a month. So I figure, given the amount of stuff I bought from them, which isn't very much, they probably are net negative revenue on me.
they're a decent company. I had a problem with one of the things that I bought and emailed them, and they just sent me a new one. They didn't want the old one back or anything. They said the price wasn't worth the trouble to send it back, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I won't argue, but so you know,
Well, they do a lot of high volume business too, where you're buying a
right.
100,000 or 1 million lot of some chipset or whatever. So
Yeah, they don't really want to deal with me buying one
Yeah.
of the things.
well, they do a retail business, but
Yeah,
they're like Arrow or
yeah, I know what you're
Arrow.
saying. Their target market is for the people that actually manufacture.
Well, yeah, OEMs
Yeah,
basically. Yep.
they will deal with the one and twos as it comes, but it usually costs you more money that way.
Well, I think what they do, the reason that they do that is they're trying to get you to prototype with their product so that when the volume buy comes, they'll be they'll have an inside track, so to speak.
Well, I've noticed here recently that, and it's probably because of the tariffs and some of the other stuff going on in the world right now, but they have started to carry a lot of Chinese, actual microcontrollers, already pre-built
Mm-hmm.
stuff, which is fine, but they're just more expensive than what I really want to pay for some of that stuff.
Well, but isn't that true by definition?
Well, can buy that from Seed Studio for $33 and some shipping. I don't know.
Who is Speed Studio?
Seed,
Seed, SEED.
Yeah, Seed.
Okay.
I think they were $30 at Seed. They were 33 at DigiKey. But by the time you add the shipping back in, it's just expensive to buy it from in the States. I got it fast. I got it. I got it like the next day, but that's my thing this week. That I just got this thing.
What is it?
It's a YO terminal.
Cool.
It is.
Are you gonna put that on Wix?
I can do that. It is.
What all does it do? What are the specs?
Oh, geez. It says we're already running out of time. Seems like
Really?
we just started. Um, it is 6
Oh,
o'clock.
it's 6 o'clock, yeah.
We've got it's a SAM 51D, 200 megahertz frequency, 32 megs of external RAM, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi,
Uh-huh.
Bluetooth 5.0, 2.4 inch 320 by 240 touch, not touch, regular screen, USB-C, micro SD card.
Excuse me.
You all right?
Yeah, I just,
Don't hack up a lung on me or anything.
Screen's getting all blurry over here. What's that all about?
You got 3-axis accelerometer, microphone, buzzer, 40-pin GPIO port compatible with the Raspberry Pi, multi-function Grove connectors for expandability. We've got 3 buttons, 1 reset button, and 3 user programmable buttons. It's not horrible, but
what's
have
it run as its base OS?
do what?
What's the base OS? I assume it's Linux, right?
It's Arduino. You program it with Arduino.
Oh, so it's not there's no OS. You're programming right down on the metal.
Right.
So you use the Arduino IDE and program it with that, huh?
I think technically there's some firmware running on this thing that interfaces with the Arduino.
Uh-huh.
And I think that is the problem why I cannot get the Wi-Fi working, because I think the firmware and the version of software for the Wi-Fi are not the same.
Oh,
But
okay.
as far as I know, there's no traditional OS on this thing. It is
Okay.
It is a microcontroller.
Okay.
But so far I've had it for 3 days now, and I have yet to get Wi-Fi working, and I have yet to find anybody who can tell me why I cannot get the Wi-Fi to work.
Well, there's always a possibility it's just a bad unit.
That is possible, I suppose.
Now, how's it powered, by the way?
Apparently there's multiple ways to power it, but it's got the USB-C jack for power. And apparently they make an extra little battery dooflippy that plugs into the Raspberry Pi GPIO. And then I guess if you've got it plugged into a Raspberry Pi, it gets its power off of that port as well.
Oh.
So you could have
it's basically a 5-volt device then.
3 volt, 3.3 volt.
Well, but the USB-C is going to be providing 5.
Yeah, but
it's got to have a voltage regulator inside it that takes it down to 3.3.
Yeah, I would say that's true. There's on their website, it says it cautions you about using 5 volt on the GPIO pins. So
okay.
I'm guessing.
Well, that's the same as the Raspberry Pi then.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's not as tolerant to 5 volts as, some of the other microcontrollers are.
Okay. By the way, going back to flash drives again, what, in your opinion, is the best quality, most reliable, whatever, of the SD cards?
I use the cheap Micro Center brand, but Jim probably has.
I've used the Micro Center brand too. They seem to be very compatible. I've had good luck with them. Of course, you really want the Samsung EVO Plus.
Well,
There,
it depends on your speed requirements, actually. I would think.
don't know, but I've had good luck with the Samsung EVOs.
You mean SanDisk?
You said?
No, I think it's Samsung. Who makes the EVOs? Samsung?
I don't know.
It's not going to be good. Let me do
Well,
this.
SanDisk makes a large volume. They have a large percentage of the market, but I think over almost everybody has a little piece of it.
It's Samsung makes the EVO Plus. That's a premium. It's a premium brand.
Yeah.
If you want premium, that's it. I have some stuff that is sensitive to what you put in it. As these devices age, as my cameras age, the later models don't care as much. The earlier models, the earlier cameras really cared a lot. The later
Now,
models, not so much.
now, do all of these have SD cards in them, or some of them have thumb drives?
Now they're all SD. Nobody does thumb drives anymore. They're pretty much for cameras.
So, how large an SD card will they take?
It depends. Most of them these days, this iteration, most of them are doing 64 gig. There are some I notice are taking 128 gig.
Uh-huh.
I may get a 64 for my Rio Link that watches the road just to give me a couple of days.
So you use up 64 gigs in a couple of days?
I use up 32. Like I was saying earlier, I wanted to look at yesterday at 1 o'clock p.m. and it didn't have it. It had nothing for yesterday. But you realize that's a 5 megapixel camera and it's running basically all day. It's basically on just about all day. During the day, we have enough cars go by. We have probably 1,000 cars at least a day go by. It's running almost continuously.
So even though it only runs for a number of seconds each time there's motion, basically it ends up with the amount of traffic with almost continuous operation.
Yeah, it's probably, I think it's a minute. Like a minute is a minimum frame time. A
Uh-huh.
lot of times it'll just fortunately the reviewer on the Rio Links is really nice. You can put it at like 4 times the speed and you can review videos out the wazoo pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
The one of the salesmen down at Micro Center told me one day that the Micro Center brand is just a rebranded SanDisk, but he didn't know which model of the rebranded SanDisk it was.
Now SanDisk is they have good and they have bad. Okay,
They do.
they have okay, but they do have premiums too.
I'm going to go with the Micro Center brand being the OK SanDisks, not the premium SanDisks.
Yeah, I've had good luck with the Micro Centers. I have.
I I've never really I've had I've had problems with them, but only after years of constant writing to them. I mean, I've never really had a problem. We're down to about 30 seconds.
Oh, yes.
Everybody knows the dance.
All right.
Do the
Yep.
merengue.
See you on the other side.
Yep.
You're not going to let us. We got less than a minute. We have to let us cut us off, man. That's the only way we
okay.
go. They shot us while we were still moving.
See you on the other side, though.